down and she's like, that's not the girl for you. I said, are you sure? I'm like, but and I like it.
She looked like the girl for me.
Everything was like,
tight and right.
And she said, but she doesn't get what you're trying to do. And I said, you're right. So I did break up with her. I didn't break up with her like immediately, but like probably like a week, 2 weeks. I was like, this ain't
okay. So you didn't. The reason I asked that is because a lot of times I feel like, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like men realize, okay, you're not the one, but you are one. So I'm gonna just keep you around for a little bit because you are tight and right. So
that's true. I'm not gonna say most.
Go ahead and say most.
Some men do that, but that's back then I was talking about the freak friend forever. You remember that?
No, I don't.
You don't remember the freak friend forever?
People don't know about it. So what is the freak and the friend and the forever?
Back then I was talking about men group women into 3 categories. There's the freak, the friend, and the forever. The freak is the one who, it's the straight up drop it like it's hot, no questions asked. You know what she gonna do. You call her up, that's what she does. The friend is the person that you can rely on. The person that is probably platonic. You can lay your head on her shoulder. You can cry, tell her all your feelings, but she's not the one that you actually marry. The forever is the woman that has marriage potential and the one that you marry. Now, the problem is, men have all these 3 categories, but what happens is women get confused about which category they're in. It's a lot of freaks who think they are forever, when typically they're not a forever. They're just the freak. And men, what they do is they keep some of these people on the side, and then these with like the platonic friend, she can possibly move up to the forever, but the freak will never become the forever. But she's misconstrued, and she thinks that she will, so she sticks around. And the guy will string her along with all of his stringing strategies.
Which was going to bring me right around to, is she confused or are y'all confusing her? Because how could she stick around? Most of the time, it's the guy doing the confusing. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of guys that are selfish. And they're playing that game, and they're trying to get what they can get until they get with the one that they actually want a wife. And she, hopefully, is the freak, the friend, and you're going to keep her forever.
But you can only be the freak, friend, and the forever when you become a wife. If you're not a wife, you can't be all 3. A lot of women say, well, I'm all 3. No, you're not, because he didn't wife you.
But you want the wife to be all 3.
You want her to be all 3, yes.
But ladies, you can't be out here being a freak when you're trying to be the forever. I think that is a big misconception.
Which part?
The part that is, I'm going to show him the freakiness so that he wants me forever.
Men don't buy that. Men don't buy that. We don't buy that. We can get
They rent it. They rent it, but they ain't buying it.
They rent it, they don't buy it. We can get a dime a dozen. I just talked to somebody who was saying sex is really, really cheap abroad. you can buy it for a minimal price, but that's not what you. Sex is great for men, but I want women to understand how men think about sex. It's not just necessarily like sex for us is more of a release. Now, when you get into a relationship that has validity, it becomes more of a connection and a vibe and an alignment. But in the meantime, between time, it's just a release. Most men. Can we talk deep?
We can talk. We on YouTube, Jackson. I don't know.
I don't know how deep you want to get on here.
Deep.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the way men think.
Okay.
Can we do that?
Please.
Just
the ladies want to know.
All right. So I was since we're talking about I need a wife. During that time frame, I was conducting these trials and case studies. I went around and I collected information from multiple men, like thousands of men, hundreds of men, to compile the book, right? And I did this study. I put 30 guys in a room, and we were in a circle, and I'm asking them questions. I'm asking them deep questions. I don't ask. I'm a therapist by trade, so I ask deeper questions than just the normal person. So I asked this one question. I said, by show of hands, there's 30 guys in the room. By show of hands, how many of you have had sex with a woman that you're not married to, but have purposely tried to get her pregnant? I'll ask it again because I want you to hear the question. How many of you have had sex with a woman that you're not married to and have purposely tried to get her pregnant? 28 out of the 30 hands in the room went up in the air. Now, if I'm honest...
So it's just not women out here trying to try...
No, okay, so if I'm honest, my hand was up in the air too. But as a therapist, I said, well, I need to figure out why. So I go around the room and I start questioning and asking these guys, like, well, why did you have sex with this woman and you weren't married to her? You didn't have any intention on marriage, but you tried to purposely get her pregnant.
And they didn't have any intention.
Purposely tried to get her pregnant. I said, okay. Go around the room, talk to one guy. Okay, well, my dad was never there for me. And I felt like if I had a baby, I would be more of a man than my dad was. Logical. I get it. Another guy comes up and he says, you know, well, the guys in my neighborhood, they were always telling me the more women that I get, the more of a man I would be. Another guy, the more babies I had, the more I felt like I was a man. Another guy sitting in the corner. Like, I went all the way around the room. His head was sunk down. He was trying to avoid eye contact. I'm like, you know I'm coming to you, right? He's looking down. I'm like, bruh, why'd you do it? I want to know, why'd you do it? He looked at me and he said, when I was younger, my mother used to always tell me that I never amount to anything. And don't you dare bring anything as black as you into this house. So the first woman that he can get into a relationship with that didn't look like his mother, he tried to get her pregnant just so that he can bring a baby home to make his mother proud. There's some deep-seated issues inside of a lot of men that we haven't even discussed, that we don't talk about, we don't touch on. Simply, men go through the motions of just going. Releases are things that keep us from going crazy. Whether the stresses that we have, because a lot of men don't talk. We don't. I mean, a lot of men don't have anybody to talk to.
Not these conversations.
Not these conversations. We don't, like, the most we talk. We talk to our homeboys, but we don't talk about what we need to be talking about. We talk about the game. We talk about how to get money, how to stay in our bag, how you know, like what that girl looks like.
Superficial stuff.
Superficial stuff. But you need to have deeper conversations with some of these guys that you're hanging out with and understand, hey man, are you stressed today? What's stressing you? What are you doing to actually relieve and release some of that stress? Some of these men are doing some violent, some crazy things. I mean, from the social emotional standpoint, you gotta get deeper into who you are as a man. So sex for us is not just about the connection piece like it is for women. And another thing I tell you real quick, since we talking about all of this, you might as well just go and dive a little bit deeper into. You ever notice when, like, and I ain't saying now, I'm talking about back in the day when you was.
Yeah, because I'm a married woman now,
You're a married woman now. Back in the day when you was out in the streets and you talking about.
I wasn't in these streets,
okay, so your homegirls was in the streets.